You've been training, you've been showing up, you've been putting in the work, probably more than most people around you, and yet, something isn't adding up. The muscle isn't coming the way you expected it to. You look in the mirror and you see the same reflection you saw 3 months ago. You feel the frustration building, that quiet, gnawing feeling that maybe you're just not built for this, maybe your body doesn't respond the way other people's bodies do. I want you to stop right there, because what I'm about to share with you changed everything for the people who actually applied it, and it has nothing to do with working harder. It has everything to do with working smarter at the right moments. Here's something that took researchers years to figure out, and most people in the gym will never know. Your body has specific biological windows throughout the day where muscle growth is dramatically accelerated, and if you're not training and eating around those windows, you're essentially leaving a significant portion of your results on the table every single session. We're talking about real, measurable differences. Studies have shown that strategic training timing can improve muscle protein synthesis by up to 30% compared to random training schedules. 30%. That means if you've been training for 6 months and not optimizing your timing, you could have already been 30% further along than you are right now. Let that sink in. Now, before we go deeper, I want you to know something. There's a program linked in the description below this video. It takes everything we're going to talk about today and builds a complete, done-for-you system around it. Not everyone who watches this will act on it, and honestly, that's fine. Most people will nod along, feel motivated for a few hours, and then go back to doing exactly what they've always done. But if you're the kind of person who actually wants to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be, it's worth checking out. It won't be available forever at the current terms, and the people who wait usually regret it. Anyway, let's keep going because this information alone will shift how you think about your training permanently. Let's talk about why you're probably struggling right now, and I mean really talk about it. You set your alarm, you drag yourself out of bed, or you push through a long day at work to get to the gym. You train hard, sometimes too hard, because you think more effort equals more progress. You come home tired, sore, and you still don't see the results that match what you're putting in. And the worst part isn't even the physical exhaustion. The worst part is the emotional weight of it. The feeling that you're doing everything right and it still isn't working. You start questioning yourself. You start wondering if other people have some genetic advantage you just don't have. You see someone else's transformation and you feel a complicated mix of inspiration and defeat at the same time. That's real. That feeling is real. And it is not your fault. The fitness industry has been telling people to just train harder, eat more protein, sleep 8 hours, and repeat. And while those things matter, they've been giving you an incomplete picture. It's like trying to build a house, but nobody told you that the foundation has to be poured at a specific temperature and humidity for it to set properly. You can pour the concrete all day long, but if the conditions aren't right, it won't harden the way it should. Your body works the same way. Here's the first thing you need to understand. Cortisol is your enemy in disguise. Cortisol is a stress hormone that naturally peaks in the morning and drops throughout the day. When cortisol is high, your body is in a catabolic state, meaning it's actually breaking down tissue rather than building it. Training at certain times without accounting for cortisol levels means you might be working against your own hormonal chemistry. Research shows that resistance training performed in the late afternoon, roughly between 4 and 6 in the evening, tends to align with higher testosterone levels, lower cortisol levels, and peak core body temperature, all of which create the ideal biological environment for muscle fiber recruitment and post-workout protein synthesis. That's not an opinion. That's physiology. Now I know what you're thinking. What if I can only train in the morning? What if my schedule doesn't allow for evening sessions? This is where it gets interesting, because timing isn't just about when you train. It's about how you prime your body before training, what you put into it, and when you put it in. A morning trainee who strategically eats and primes their nervous system in the 60 minutes before lifting can dramatically close the gap between suboptimal and optimal hormonal conditions. This is the difference between a generic approach and an intelligent one. Pattern interrupt. Stay with me here because this next part flips everything on its head. Most people obsess over what they eat around their workouts, pre-workout, post-workout, intra-workout. The supplement industry has made billions of dollars convincing you that the magic is in the products. But here's what the science actually says. The timing of your carbohydrate and protein intake, relative to your training window, matters far more than the specific supplements you're consuming. Consuming 30 to 40 grams of quality protein within 45 minutes after training has been shown in multiple peer-reviewed studies to nearly double the anabolic signaling response compared to waiting 2 or more hours. 2 hours? That's a window most people miss simply because they shower, drive home, scroll their phone, and then think about eating. The muscle signal gets sent, your body waits for the building materials, and if they don't arrive on time, the signal fades. Imagine sending a construction crew to a building site but the materials don't show up until the next morning. The crew packs up and goes home. That's what's happening inside your muscle tissue every time you delay your post-training nutrition. And people wonder why they've been training for a year and still look the same. This isn't about being perfect. This is about being precise. Let's talk about sleep timing next, because this is the most underrated anabolic window in existence and almost nobody talks about it in practical terms. Human growth hormone, which is the most powerful muscle-building hormone your body naturally produces, is released in significant pulses during deep sleep, specifically in the first 90 minutes of your sleep cycle. If you're eating heavy meals within 2 hours of sleep, your insulin levels spike, growth hormone release is blunted, and you lose a critical recovery window that no supplement can replicate. People spend money on growth hormone boosters and they're eating pizza at 11 at night wondering why nothing is working. The research is clear. Optimizing the 2-hour window before sleep, which means light nutrition if any, lower light exposure, and cooler room temperature, can increase growth hormone output by a significant margin, accelerating overnight muscle repair and reducing the time it takes to recover between sessions. Less recovery time means you can train more frequently. More frequency, when programmed intelligently, means faster lean muscle development. We're not talking about minor improvements. We're talking about compounding advantages that stack week after week. Think about two people, same genetics, same gym, same workout program, same diet. One of them is training at random times, eating whenever they feel like it, and staying up until midnight watching content on their phone. The other one is dialed in their training window, is eating strategically around their sessions, and protecting their sleep architecture. In 12 weeks, those two people look dramatically different. In 6 months, they look like they've been following completely different programs. The only variable was timing intelligence. That's the cost of not knowing this information. That's what it's been costing you. And I want you to feel that for a second. Not to feel bad, but to feel motivated. Because now you know. And knowing is only powerful when you act on it fast enough for it to matter. Every week that passes where you're still operating on the old approach is another week of compounding lost progress. Here's another piece most people completely overlook. Training frequency and the weekly distribution of your muscle stimulus matters enormously. Most people follow a once-per-week muscle group approach. Chest on Monday, back on Wednesday, legs on Friday, and while that feels structured, the research on muscle protein synthesis tells a different story. Elevated muscle protein synthesis, after a training session, returns to baseline within 36 to 48 hours. That means, if you're only hitting a muscle group once a week, it's sitting in a baseline state for 5 or 6 days before you stimulate it again. Higher frequency training, hitting each major muscle group twice per week with intelligent volume distribution, has been shown in multiple studies to produce significantly greater lean muscle development over the same time period. The same total volume, just redistributed. More signals sent to the muscle over time. More growth. People have been following outdated bro-split logic for decades and wondering why their progress plateaued after the first year. This is the gap between what the average person does and what the informed person does. And that gap is measured in months of wasted effort, wasted money on food and supplements, and wasted mental energy. Here's what changes when you get this right. You start seeing definition where there was softness before. You notice that your clothes fit differently. You feel stronger in a way that's undeniable. The gym stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like evidence. Evidence that your body is responding, that the work is working. That emotional shift, that feeling of momentum, is one of the most powerful things a person can experience. It changes how you carry yourself. It changes how you approach challenges outside the gym. People who transform their bodies often say that the biggest change wasn't physical. It was the way they stopped doubting themselves. That's what's actually available to you here. Not just a better physique. A completely different relationship with what you're capable of. Now look, we've covered the core of what strategic training timing actually means. You understand the hormonal windows, you understand nutrition timing, you understand sleep architecture, you understand frequency distribution. If you apply even half of what we've talked about consistently, you will see a measurable difference in the next 4 to 6 weeks. That's not hype, that's biology working in your favor for a change. But if you want a complete, structured, step-by-step system that maps all of this out for you in a clear daily framework, the program in the description below is exactly that. It's built for people who are serious, who've been showing up but haven't been getting the return they deserve. The people who don't take action on this will keep running the same cycle. The people who do will look back in 90 days and wonder why they waited even a single day longer than they had to. This is the moment. It's right here. The link is right below this video.